Good afternoon. I'm DJ Wells of the Urban Health Program at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and you're watching the Urban Health Hotline, where each week you'll have an opportunity to call in and get your questions answered about important things going on in the health fields, about opportunities, educational opportunities at the University of Illinois, and about the health professions and health careers that you might want to consider pursuing. Remember, this is your show. It's a call-in show. We do hope that you will call in and have your questions answered. The phone number for you to call in is there at the bottom of your screen, 312-738-1060. The phone lines are open. You can call right now. We'll be glad to take your calls and get you on the air. You may recognize our guest today because our guest today was our host last week. Tarri Strickland coordinates many of the student-focused activities for the Urban Health Program at UIC. And last week, Tarri and her guests shared with you some information about some of the graduate programs at UIC, master's degrees, PhDs, those types of things. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the undergraduate opportunities at UIC, the undergraduate programs, the undergraduate activities that go on in the Urban Health Program. So Tarri, thanks for coming back and helping us get through that today.
No problem.
Well, Tarri, I know that you work with both undergraduate and graduate students, but we've already said that undergraduates are going to be our focus for today. Let's talk about what types of things go on in the Urban Health Program, specifically targeting undergraduate students. What kind of activities do we have in place for undergraduates who might be considering a health career?
Oh, I think the first thing that we have that no one else has is the infrastructure. We actually have an office for the Urban Health Program undergraduate students. Nowhere else is there a single sole office for this group of students where they can come, they receive tutoring, they do peer tutoring, we have folks come in and do resume review workshops. There's opportunities to get advised by myself. And so going through their day-to-day schedules, seeing what things they might need to take, what they don't need to take. We talk about things like their professors and how to work and I guess be professional and professional etiquette with faculty and staff, because that's so important with our students.
Absolutely.
But some of the fun things are we actually have a Urban Health Program pre-health student organization. And
that's a mouthful.
Right? But they are awesome. I love them so much. And what that group does is they are undergraduate students who are interested in health. And so that could mean dentistry, med, nursing, whatever that is. And they actually work with myself as the advisor, and they are kind of figuring out their path. So things that we do are different tours to the medical center, to the medical college. We actually bring in the different admissions folks and directors into our home, either in SSB or actually on campus, for the undergraduate students to have those conversations about admissions from the first year that they're there on campus until that final year, whether that's the fourth or fifth year.
Mm-hmm. Now, you used an acronym. So we have to make sure that the folks that aren't UIC friendly or UIC familiar know what we're talking about. You mentioned SSB. What is that?
It's a student services building over on Harrison Street, actually. It used to be the old Jewel. But it's where all of the student services for undergraduate students are held. And so there's financial aid, there is the international services, there's where you get your I-card. So it's pretty much a one-stop shop for the undergraduate students.
Okay.
And how lovely, because we're there to support you guys.
Absolutely. So the Urban Health Program does have an office there in that student services building, in that SSB.
Exactly.
Very good. Tell us a little bit more about that undergraduate student organization, because that, it sounds like a wonderful resource for, well, I know it's a wonderful resource because I work with those students too. So I'm sure it sounds like to our listeners that it's a wonderful resource for students who might be considering a health career.
Oh yes, it's a good opportunity because it's not just business. And I think the undergraduates out there, you just need to know that, hey, sometimes we want to focus on the professional side and the career, but it might not be what exactly we think it's going to be until we have some experiences. So with the the undergraduate group, we have those experiences. The group members, executive board, or traditional members, they are paired up even with a mentor who's an alumni person in whatever
Wonderful.
field that they're interested in. So if there's a dentist and there's someone that wants to be a future dentist, we have someone available to do that mentoring with them. And so there's the fun things like they do a health conference, they do study groups, and it's peer study groups. So they work with Honors College actually at UIC, and they do their tutoring together, which is kind of nice. And so it's not just doing the inside the classroom activities, but they do a lot of the outside fun things that actually help with your professional life. So for the undergrads that are out there listening, or if you're pre-undergraduate track, like think about those things that you can do to, I guess, help with your profession. So if you're interested in being a doctor, the group actually does things like blood drives. So go and make sure you organize or volunteer blood drive, because you might figure out that you don't like blood. But you just
kind of an important thing to know if you're going to be in the medical field.
Exactly. But you just see the salary. So again, making sure that I'm working with our students so that they know it's not just about this is my career, but what's your passion in life? What are you really going to enjoy, and what's going to stand out? And so in the undergraduate track, they have all these experiences for 4 years, which is awesome. Like, who can do that? And so it's not, again, just, all work and you're sitting in meetings, but they do all those fun things.
Sure. I know that when I was an undergraduate many years ago, I found that I did most of my learning when I was participating in clubs and activities, and I was actually a media major, and so I had a chance to work on student films and films that some of my classmates were working on, and films that I was working on outside of the class, and participated in clubs and those types of things, and I found that I learned so much more in those activities than I did even in the classroom.
Oh yes, and that whole relationship building.
Absolutely.
And so it's not about just building relationships with your faculty, but it's with your cohort. And so I think that's another thing that the pre-health group does, is that they're building a community together. They're going to be the doctors, the nurses, the dentists, and they're going to all know each other from when they first came through the doors at UIC. Like, how awesome is that?
Sure.
You're that doctor, and you can say to your client, oh, I have a dentist that is a friend of UIC, and you can go. How great is that? Right. Who else can do that, have that one-on-one interaction like that you built in your undergraduate career?
And that's, I think, one of the major strengths of the Urban Health program, because we do offer services across all of the health professions that not only at the undergraduate level with this student organization, but for our professional students and our graduate students, they're building those networks with students from other health sciences from the time they get here all the way through completion of their program. And you're right, once they get out there in the field, then they've got this wonderful network that they can draw from that makes them that much more effective in their jobs.
Exactly.
This organization, can only students who have expressed an interest in the health fields be a part of it? And like, do you have to be a biology major or a chemistry major to be a part of the student organization?
Oh, no, you don't actually. And so I'm glad that you asked that question, because a lot of students think that you have to be that track to join a lot of the organizations. But as an undergraduate student, you're just building on experiences. You're just living. You're trying to figure out what exactly you want to do. And so actually what's crazy is that we have 2 students that are in the organization in the exec board. One person wants to be a fashion designer, actually. And the other person wants to do media graphic design or whatnot. But for them, it is the cause, the mission. And so they just know that they want to work with underserved populations.
Sure.
And so this is that opportunity for them. But they love it, and we actually use a lot of their talent. So that fashion designer is the one that designs the t-shirts for the group, or even for Urban Health. for all of our students, actually. A student put that together. And then the graphic designer is the same person that does all of our publicity on Facebook. She makes all of the flyers. Like, she does just about everything. So all of those experiences can be useful in this kind of organization. It's not just for folks that are interested in health professions, but interested in the mission.
And interestingly enough, a couple of weeks ago, we had someone here from the College of Applied Health Sciences, and she was talking about medical imaging as a career path. And so they have graphic designers who ultimately go into this field where they're doing the illustrations for medical textbooks and for pamphlets and that type of thing. And there's a whole industry built around being both a graphic designer and also someone who's knowledgeable about health and about the human body. So.
Exactly. And that's one of those who would have known if you weren't a part of this organization.
Exactly.
Even as myself as a staff member, it's one of those, who would have thought that was an experience? Like, for all of us, we're just thinking that narrow track of health equals doctor, nurse. And nowadays, it's not that way at all. Like,
Sure.
all of our talents, especially as an undergraduate student, all these talents that you guys have and that you're interested in, they can take you into healthcare field jobs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and there's a lot of healthcare jobs out there. You hate to say it, but people are always going to be sick. So there's always a need.
Oh, yes. And I think that something that the group is really trying to move towards now is working with the elderly. So many of our youth now have this passion because they see things that are going on in their own experiences with their own families, that, hey, the elderly need help. So even doing things like going and volunteering at elderly homes, or like whether that's reading, whether that's preparing food, feeding, like whatever it is, they're even thinking that way.
Sure.
Like, they're just a good group.
Absolutely. And then of course there's the other kind of mission driven thing that you were mentioning, the desire to serve underserved populations, but I think even more importantly, the recognition that there's a shortage of people who look like us in the health professions in general, and how important it is to have people who look like us in the health professions.
Oh, so true, because that is the story usually with our students. They come in and they say, oh, my grandmother went through this, or I had a doctor and they didn't understand a family member because they spoke Spanish. Like, whatever it is, like, they saw that there was an issue. They saw there was a problem, and I'm so glad that they see this now as an undergraduate student, because it's so going to help you in the future when you have that compassion for the client.
Absolutely. The academic term for it is cultural competency.
Exactly.